Welcome, hello everyone again, and thank you for joining us for the webinar. I'm now sharing my screen so that you can see what we are going to do right now. As I mentioned before, this is the second webinar we are doing. It's the advanced seminar for Euraxess staff. We're just going to introduce myself. My name is Verena Katscher. I'm from the OEAD, the Austrian Agency for Internationalization and Education in Austria. And we are one of the Austrian bridge organizations for Euraxess. And we are also part of the ERA Talent Project. And just, we did this already, and just to start with some introduction round, I would do it like on Menti, and I just prepare a Menti for you. I'm just going to switch to Menti right now. And I would be curious if you can just put your field of work. You can see, I hope you can see this, you can join it at menti.com and just use the code 27786274. I can also put it in the chat if you would like to have it. Sorry, I'm just... So maybe you can just put in your profession, in which field you're working, for example, career advice. Is it working? Okay, one response, human resources, great.
Could you put the link in the chat, please?
Thank you. Of course, I'm just trying to, maybe because I'm in the presentation. Oh, sorry. So, and code. So. Okay, we still receive some questions. So we have someone from, I think research is quite a lot from research department or career development, contact points, also some colleagues. So we still receive 40 responses. Okay, great. Just to get an overview for us, where do you work? And which field do you work? So great. I will now go to the next slide. So maybe you can just put your level of experience within the Euraxess network. So maybe if you're more experienced Euraxess member, by experience we mean more than 5 years experience, or if you're just a newcomer. Okay, we do have a lot of newcomers at the moment.
Excuse me, would it be possible to see the first slide again?
Of course, yeah.
Thank you very much.
I just put this is the first slide, so the field of work. I can share it with you afterwards as well. I can send it out with the, yeah, of course, I can also send it to you. And now we have the level of experience. If you're more a newcomer, like until 5 years within the Euraxess network, or you're a more experienced Euraxess member, that means that you're part of the Euraxess network more than 5 years, as you see yourself. I think we have a lot of newcomers today, or maybe more newcomers than advanced ones. So. And I'm moving now to our third questions. Maybe are there some Euraxess career development? We are curious. Are there some Euraxess career development tools you know or you have worked with? Maybe you have used within your works with your researchers. Okay. So career development plan, no limits tools. It's mentioned. Okay, the module within Euraxess. Yeah, talent development suite, I guess. It is mentioned. The reflex tool. Okay, thank you. Okay, so some tools are familiar to you. The mentoring, yeah. Okay, some also know the Euraxess platform. This is also great. Okay. But there are still some of you who didn't know any tools or haven't worked with them so far, but maybe we can change it today. Okay, the Rebecca mentoring tool is also quite known. I see. Okay, thank you very much. Still some answers coming. Okay, I will also share this with you, the slides. I will put it in my presentation. Okay, thank you very much. I will now stop the Menti. And I'm going to switch to my presentation as well. So we did this already. And just some words about today's agenda. First, we will have a presentation by two Austrian colleagues, who will share their experience about the career development plan and how they use it with their work with their researchers. And afterwards, we will focus on moving from academia to industry, a topic which is becoming more and more important. And I'm glad that we will have Lucia Salter from the University of Turin today with us. Afterwards, of course, we will have time for question and answers and also maybe to exchange some ideas. And we will also have time to discuss on our internal practices and tools for orientation and self-assessment of researchers. If you have any questions during the presentations, please feel free to put it in the chat. But afterwards, after each presentation, we will have time to discuss it. And I will now give the floor to Christine and Mareike from the LBG, the Ludwig Boltzmann Career Institute in Austria. And I will stop my presentation. And I will ask Christina to start with hers. Thank you very much, Christina and Mareike.
Thank you. Thank you, Verena. Okay, great. All right. So welcome. My name is Mareike Kerschbaum, and as Verena already announced, Christina Hudetz is my colleague. We are program managers at the LBG Career Center. Before we actually go into more detail into the career development plan or the career handbook, so to say, I would like to tell you a little bit who we are and what we do, so that you know, who you're listening to. As I said, we are part of the LBG, the Ludwig Boltzmann Gesellschaft, which is a non-university research organization. And it has different institutions, research institutions with different research focuses, for example, life sciences, humanities, but also social and cultural studies. And we, as the Career Center, are part of the LBG. We were founded in 2016, and we were founded with a specific mission or aim, as you wish, which is actually to support young researchers, which are pre- and postdoc students, in their career development in and outside of academia. So what we actually do is that we help these young researchers to improve their career perspectives, whether it's for a career in academia or also outside of academia. And for that, we have bundled, we have a bundle of services that we offer. We do have individual career services, for example, coaching. We also do have longer formats like programs with different focuses, but we also throughout the year offer different career events. There we have career skills trainings, expert talks, and also career workshops. And this is also now the word, career workshops. So we do a couple of career workshops on career development throughout the year. And in these workshops, we like to use the Euraxess career development plan or the career handbook, because as we see it, it is a very nice and applicable method or tool, if you want, that helps people step by step to assess and explore their strengths, their skills, their motives, and further on define their career goals and also define actions that actually help to reach these goals. And how we exactly do that and implement that in our workshops, this is now, Christine is now going to tell you in more detail.
Yes, thank you, Mareike. Yeah, we thought we will just show you a bit how we are implementing this career development plan in our workshops and also in our consultations individually. And to give you some idea how that looks like, we prepared some slides from the workshops, from the actual workshops, to give you a better idea. But if you don't know the career development plan, or I think now it's called the career handbook, there's the link to this career handbook. It's a PDF. That's a very helpful tool, I think, with a lot of tips and further resources for the researchers if they want to work on their career development. And that's why we use it, because we sometimes give also workshops for people who are outside of our kind of target group that we are allowed to give our services to directly. And then it's nice to give them some ideas or resources that they can look up online for free. And yeah, so I think the career development plan is very helpful. And yeah, how do we actually use it? In the career development plan, there are 4 steps, and they are called exploration, self-assessment, focusing, and action plan. And so the nice thing is, we can actually use the career development plan for a lot of different workshops, whether it's focusing on self-assessment or on exploration, finding the right fit for your skills and interests, finding your career path, or if we focus on developing skills for the personal career. And we often just go through each steps and then explain the different steps of career development through this career development plan. And then we can also implement, depending on how much time we have in the workshop, or if it's maybe just an expert talk, some inputs and questions that can also be interactive. They can work individually or in groups on these kind of questions, or I'm missing the word, but I think you know what I mean. So that's, for example, self-assessment regarding the skills and strengths that the people use and what they want to focus on. Of course, here you could go into detail and work on skills or strengths and how to define them more. If we don't have time during the workshop, we like to give them kind of a input and insights where they can get more insights to their strengths or skills. And some of these links are also from the career development plan. So in the career development plan, there's actually for each step, I think 1 or 2 pages just with information on further resources. And exploration phase would be finding the right fit. And here, for example, we ask the participants what the key factors are that they are looking for in companies or in job positions. And for this, for example, they could also exchange ideas with other people in the workshop. Yeah, the focusing phase. It's about developing necessary skills for your career goal. And here it's also, from our point of view, nice to give a bit of an input into the topic of transferable skills and to make people realize, okay, you already have a lot of skills that would be also helpful outside of academia. And what are those skills and how do I define them? And here you can go into detail again and present transferable skills examples and let the people work on that. Yeah, and the last step would be the action plan. And here we sometimes ask the people to already define which short and long-term steps for their career action plan and let them think about, okay, which action can I do right away? So we want to encourage the people to really start on their career development plan. So yeah, and that's the 4 steps. Important to know that it's an ongoing process, and wherever they are on this 4 steps, they can start their career development. And yeah, that was our example. Of course, it's just some slides. We usually have go into more detail depending on which topic you want to focus on in the workshops. But this career development then gives a nice overview and I think also orientation for the researchers. And it's also helpful if they want to work on their career development after the workshops and go into more detail, especially if we only have like 1 hour, for example, to give an idea about what you could do to work on your career. Yeah. And now we would be curious, of course, what your best practices are, or if you have any questions or ideas for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you, Mareike. So now you have the opportunity to ask some questions, or maybe, I don't think there are no questions in the chat right now, but maybe some questions, or maybe. Okay, I think Natalie, yeah, you can go ahead. I think you're still, oh, sorry, yeah.
Sorry. I'm reaching you from France here. Hello, everyone. I just, the presentation was a little fast for me on the 3rd step, the focusing part. If it's not too much asking, could you just maybe give me an example or represent very quickly?
Mm-hmm. I can share my screen again, no problem. Just have to start the presentation. That was the one about transferable skills. This step you meant, right? Focusing step?
Yes, the 3rd one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in this step, from our experience, it's a nice step to go into detail on transferable skills. So sometimes we just have this question in the workshop, asking the people, okay, think about which transferable skills do you already have and exchange with other people in the workshop. Or sometimes we also give more details about, okay, what are transferable skills actually, and how can you define them, and then give some examples about, okay, how can you translate skills that you probably use in your in academia into skills that you can use outside of academia as well.
And so you have a list of those transferable skills, or you ask them to come up with them?
Can be both. Sometimes we just give them some examples and then let them come up with their ideas. And sometimes we have examples of transferable skills. So for example, if it would be like something writing your thesis, and then the transferable skill would be writing, for example, or project management or something like that. So sometimes we give them some ideas about, okay, tasks that they probably use or skills that they probably use, and then let them think about what could be the transferable skill, the translation, and then, yeah, just collect ideas. Is that helpful?
There is also a nice resource online that you can use for identifying skills. It's called the Harvard Competencies Dictionary. So if you want to look that up, there you find a lot of competencies, and yeah, with that you can actually do a lot of exercises, like giving them, I don't know, a typical academic skill, which is referred to, I write a lot of proposals, and then let them guess, okay, what could be a transferable skill, or what could be the skill that is interesting for industry, for example, right?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry, Isa, yes, please go ahead. Isa, you can.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, mic was closed. Just a question. Are you so-called clients? Are you focusing only on Austria or also abroad? Let's say Austrian young students or researchers.
We mainly focus Austrian researchers, so researchers who are employed at Austrian universities and research organizations. That's due to our funding. But at the moment, we are hoping for funding to kind of be able to expand the target group to outside of Austria as well.
Just a good advice, because it helps a lot to what we call brain circulation. Brings them home.
Yeah.
Okay, can show you the way, but on a private basis. I mean, later.
Thank you.
I've now posted this link from the Harvard Competencies Dictionary in the chat. So
perfect. Thank you.
I'm gonna look that up. Yes, sure.
There is a question from Eleanor. I don't know, Eleanor, do you want to say it out loud, or should I read it out for you? Okay, maybe she asked, you mentioned that you ask the young researchers what they are looking for in companies. Do you also check with them where they find information about job profiles that are particularly suitable for researchers with view to their skill set? Alternatively, do you have recommendations for resources where to find such job profiles? Thank you.
I mean, we sometimes have workshops on the whole job application process, and then we give some information on where to look for jobs, and also, yeah, gather their ideas of where they are looking for jobs. Suitable sources. Do you mean like actual job ads, or more like job profiles as examples?
Eleanor just wrote me that she has some noise in the background.
Oh, okay.
She meant job profiles. So it's
actual
more about
ones or just examples. But I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, what we do actually in our workshops is that we, for example, in advance in our preparation, we look up some job ads, and then we show it in the workshop, and then we go through these ads together. So what can you read between the lines? What could that mean? What could suitable skills be that they're asking for, like in discussion with the people, with the audience? Yeah, we do that definitely.
Okay, so I hope, Eleanor, I think they answered your question. Just waiting. Someone else who has a question or a remark, or want to share something with us, how they work with the researchers. Okay, but she said, but there is no resource you could recommend where such profiles are listed. Or do you have any resource where such profiles are listed?
Depends too much on which job the researchers look for. Yes.
I mean, we do have a list of these platforms where you can look up job ads. I'm not sure if we have found a specific job platform for researchers that are looking for jobs in industry or vice versa. I'm not sure about this, but I'm not also sure if you mean this by job profiles. There's no resource you could recommend where such
There is some answer from ABG website. They do have job offers in English, but I think it's not so about job offers, but more about job profiles.
Okay.
Which I guess that's what was the question. But Elisa, I think you raised your hand, but you don't want to add something.
Yeah, I mean, I will just basically add another. It's definitely very good to have a very an overview, a website or platform where you show job profiles, not job offers. But I think the combination of the two strategies is very good, because what happens sometimes is that the industry evolves so quickly in some disciplines that the companies merge different job profiles that we have in our heads, you know, and that we already have described maybe in platforms. But the reality is that these companies are merging already these. For example, I'll give you an example. In life science discipline, you have this job profile is called field application specialist. And then you have this other job profile that is called key account manager. But nowadays, in some companies, they are mixing them. So at the end of the day, it's a very good idea to have a platform where you show these kind of broad job profiles, but really clearly stating that the market is moving so fast that sometimes you need to go to the job offer, to the specific job offer, to really understand what these companies are looking for. And then I really like also this strategy that the LBG is following, that with these job offers that I also use, is that then you highlight the skills that they have. The researchers have, like, basically their transferable skills, or the ones that maybe they are transferable that they don't have, or they should train. This is the gap, you know. And then, yeah, you can use, for example, the Harvard University competency framework. There are so many competency frameworks nowadays. Now we have also our European research competence framework too. So that would be the strategy. So in general, I mean, there are some good platforms based on in United States, and also in the UK. The one is being posted, the Prospect AC UK. But unfortunately, it sometimes is based on the country, and like I said, sometimes they are not providing the reality, because the market is moving so fast that the job profiles are changing and evolving.
Yeah, and sometimes in the second step, the exploration phase, where they should try to find the right fit for their skill set, they don't really know where to look or what to look for, and then a good inspiration that we often share is PhD career stories, where a lot of PhD, ex-PhD, or people with a PhD who moved outside academia share their stories. So I think that's a good inspiration sometimes to just look, okay, where can I go? What is out there? What kind of job profiles do actually exist for me?
No, but then thank you very much. Now I cannot spare you what I have here in the background. Sorry if it gets noisy. But yes, I was asking also with view to what Elisa is preparing as deliverable within ERA Talent, because she took on the effort and the challenge actually to talk to researchers to see what is realistic to people which are now outside academia, and to list at least maybe common points. They have the overlap between jobs, if I understood it right, Elisa. With maybe different denominations sometimes, but that there is more or less one profile you can identify. And it's just saying for prospects, I see UK, yeah, that has been mentioned in the chat. So for me, this is all very valuable because for the moment, what we are doing is the same as you mentioned before. We try to talk to alumni and to make short videos or interviews with them and then list their daily tasks so that people get a more realistic idea of what will really be awaiting them behind some maybe, yeah, impressing job titles. And in the end, it is not what they were expecting maybe or what the job title suggests. And so actually more of these profiles we can get somewhere. Of course, also sometimes it's really needed to dig into the field, a specific field, bio or else engineering, and it makes sense to have them compiled. But I'm still looking for a resource, you know, where you would find the different links to these different websites that at least we can direct to one page and not say, okay, please look there and there, that it's also easier for us to guide people. And of course, in the end, they will have to do some effort on their side than to go through the links, but to have something like this career development plan you were kindly praising before. So that was what I'm after, actually. And thank you for all the comments.
Thank you, Eleanor. Elisa, you want to add something?
Yeah, now that Eleanor has introduced this new tool that we are preparing, that is taking ages, because yeah, definitely we're preparing something to show. That was the main idea, to stop job profiles, and it's basically in this phase of career exploration of showing to researchers what is out there. And this is what we found, you know, that the job profiles is very complicated, because what I was saying, actually, I know so much about field application specialists because it's one of the job profiles that we're preparing. And then we were interviewing professionals doing these types of jobs and discovering many things. And then the difference on this tool, I think, for what is currently out, or mainly there is one similar strategy from the United States. Some people did something similar. It's basically, we are not telling them what they are. It's basically they have somehow experience through tasks that we ask them to do, you know, experience, which actually means to be a field application specialist. But like I said, when we started to do these profiles, and we realized that in the, you know, the industry is much more complex, and then we want to show also them reality. Because I think it's extremely important when you are orienting someone that is going to do a bigger step, you know, outside of academia. So it's also giving the reality is that we are, in a very short introduction, trying to be brief, giving them also the explanation that this is much more complicated, you know, that then they shouldn't restrict only to the title or to just one profile, that is really more complicated. And we're trying also to explain them this. Hopefully this tool is going to be out for June. Okay.
Okay, great.
Finger crossed.
Fingers crossed, of course. Thank you, Lisa. Are there some other questions or remarks, or you want to share something with us from your daily work? Okay, then thank you very much, Christine and Mareike, for your input. And I would now like to give the floor to Lucia Salto, a career development consultant from the University of Turin in Italy. And she will now share her experiences in supporting researchers on their path outside academia. So I think we are now in the right way, also from the discussions. So please, Lucia, the floor is yours. I think, yeah.
I just because I'm in my office and I wanted to make sure that there was silence.
Yeah. Of
Sorry.
course, thank you.
Sorry. Okay, just a few words about me, and then I can share my slide. First of all, thank you so much to Verena and Svetlana for inviting me, and very happy to join you today. This discussion is really very interesting because skills are really a priority for early career researchers in search of top position as they deserve. And my presentations, I am I work at the University of Torino, doctoral schools, and my focus are postdoctoral activities for PhD. That's to say, the valorization of the PhD in Italy, especially outside from academia. The title is not very well understood. It's not clearly understood in terms of added value. So we have to help our PhD, our early career researchers to better sell their skills when they have to move to other sectors. And so we have been organizing, and we are organizing activities to train them, to strengthen their soft skills, and at the same time to help them increase their network, their professional network, because if they have to move to other sectors, they need the skills, knowledge of the job market, but also the right networks. Now I'm going to share my slides. Please, 1 second on the floor. So thank you very much for your invitation. Can you hear me? So
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the title of my short presentation is Moving from Academia to Industry. The problem, I think, that is more or less the same all over in Europe, at least, especially in Southern Europe. It is very difficult to find a permanent position to become professor at university. So it is better to explore the job market for different reasons. Anyway, we know that researchers are made for the knowledge society, which is also outside. And I have been collaborating with Svetlana since 2020. So I'm grateful for having for such collaboration, which helped me to grow professionally. And Euraxess career tools are really there are a great number of Euraxess career tools in my cases for today, where the focus is moving from academia to industry. I think that Euraxess, for example, the mentoring program I was a mentor also for this program, was interesting, useful for them, because PhD and early career researcher needs this kind of input. Euraxess Smart Talks, we have been recently interviewed. I gave some names of recruiters who accepted to be interviewed and to explain what their what profiles for top positions they are looking for. And it was interesting. Era talent project, Euraxess webinar series on career development are really useful for researchers, for younger, for PhDs and researchers. Let's get started. So moving from the world of research, teaching and publishing to industry means leaving behind the environment we know. So it's a step.
Sorry, Lucia, sorry. Do you want to share your presentation? Because I think you didn't start. Sorry, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
So wait a minute. I'm sorry. Wait. And now, can you see it? Can you see the presentation?
Yes, now we can see it, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, yeah.
So I have to, oh, well.
You just have to put it in the
It's okay, and I think that now, now can you see it?
Now it's perfect, yeah.
It was about Euraxess tools, how the work that made by Euraxess to in terms of career, to help PhD during their career transition, the so-called career transition, because this is the focus for. It's difficult. It's always difficult to leave your comfort zone, to step outside your comfort zone, especially after 4 or 5 years spent in the labs. And everybody knows that the academic world is highly competitive. And it's extremely difficult in Italy, but also in France, for example, to find a permanent position. And so you run the risk of getting older in temporary position, and it might be difficult then to move to other sectors, because also age play a role. Maybe undoubtedly the academic world is attractive. I've been working for at least for 5 years with the PhD, so I know that the academia is their dream job, but they have also to realize the difficulties they might encounter, and at the same time, if we help them to explore, to understand the job market, maybe they can find more attractive other careers because of the salaries or for other reasons. So what we try to do in our within the context of our activity, webinar, roundtable discussion with the actors and recruiters, headhunters, alumni, PhD, our young researchers graduated, got a PhD at the University of Torino, and now we are on top position in companies. We try to, first of all, to make them understand the differences between these two words. In academia, the focus is on research and teaching, whereas in industry, the focus is on results, meeting business objectives. So advantages, pros and cons. Maybe you are more independent if you stay in academia, but at the same time, more flexible. On the contrary, in industry, you have maybe to stick on schedules. They are maybe less flexible in terms of work hours. But however, some PhD feel liberated by the more predictable schedule of an industry job, where everything has to be very well planned to meet these objectives. So first of all, it's important to understand the differences between these two words and identify area where they have to try, maybe when they have to step from to move to industry. Maybe this involves taking courses, develop new skills, gaining experience in internships. But I think that the most difficult and the most important for them is to build a network, because if they have if they want to find a top position in industry, first of all, they need a network, a professional network outside. Maybe they can start from their academic advisor, their PhD coordinator, their laboratory, but then little by little, step by step, and we help our PhD to grow, to build a valuable network in terms of recruiters, of companies, headhunters, for example. So professionals who can help them grow professionally. And how to build a professional network? This is the point. And it is also the focus, because when little by little you have a valuable professional network, they can help you. In return, your network can help you identify job opportunities for PhDs, I mean also top job opportunities. Better understand industry trends, and make connections useful for the advancement of your career. Undoubtedly, you have to start with your academic connections. But then how can you build your network? By attending industry events and conferences, which providing opportunities to meet other people, participating in workshop, training session, join, or why not join professional organization, which can provide access to industry news and resources and opportunity to connect with other professionals. This is a way of to grow a valuable, meaningful network. And last but not least, they have to use social media to connect. LinkedIn, first of all, to connect with people of their dream job, of their dream industry. And all these can also help early career researchers to identify job opportunities, because as far as I know, some of our PhD at the end of their doctoral path, they don't really know how can they sell their skills outside. What can they do outside of academia, because they have to concentrate on their thesis dissertations, on their research project, but they cannot identify, first of all, their skills, their transferable skills developed during their doctoral path. At the same time, they have to learn how to translate them for the industry, because they have to explain that they represent, they are added value for the company. And all at the same time, they have to learn to explore the job market into what are the trends now, what are the most requested skills, and identify job opportunities for them, because our PhD have to find the position they deserve after such a long training. So job search is our focus, career application, to prepare a killer motivation letter survey, which is very different from the one we prepare in academia, for academia, how to overcome successful and in a job interview, what are recruiters expecting from you. They are not prepared. They have to be prepared. I repeat, you need three things: be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. Don't go without preparation when you are invited for a job interview for a company. So focus on your skills. But this topic has already been treated before. Job search is a work. It's a job in itself. It's a work in itself. When you decided to search a job, identified according to your skills, your strengths and weaknesses, your dream job, and realistically, I mean, and all that. And during our webinars, also we organized together with Euraxess, and thanks to Svetlana help and understanding, we focus on this job search process, because if you want to be hired for your dream job, you have to invest on skills, on the job search, on the exploration of the job market. And so LinkedIn is really a useful tool, because you can identify potential recruiters, you can better understand the company you want to apply when you know that when you find out that there is a position, an open position for you. Attending conferences or industry events can provide opportunity to learn more about job openings, to reach out to people in your target industry, and at the same time you can let them know that you are looking for a job. So this is the job process during the career transition, where you have to invest energy, time, interview. Then when you have you are invited for an interview, because this is the other step. You have to prepare. Be prepared. We say be prepared before being invited or going for a job interview. You have to be prepared to questions you might be asked. You know that when you already have our PhD, you have to emphasize to learn how to put emphasis on their relevant skills and experience, and explain why their profile in terms of technical, scientific, and transferable skills is the right professional profile for that specific application, representing an added value for the company. So this is the process. After the job search process, the process of preparing for all that. They have to be prepared to answer questions about their work style, other factors important for the company. And we also insist that after the interview, there is a follow-up, not to be forgotten. Have so to write thank you or not email, to strengthen, to put emphasis on the interest, on the personal interest for that position, and keeping top of mind for the interviewer. Tips also. For tips, we were used to organize a round table discussion, two kind of round table discussion before the pandemic on site, and now more and more online, with the actors in terms of recruiters. Maybe we also organize a session for the humanities, other for PhD coming from the hard sciences or from the medical sciences. And at the same time, we also invite our alumni, so PhD graduates already working in companies, maybe who were already at a certain step of their career, and so they are able to explain how to prepare the interview, but how to step, how to demonstrate that a young researcher is really an added value for a company. So be adaptable, flexible to new ways of working. We try to explain through this kind of mentoring activities already run organized by Euraxess, how to build relationship with their new colleagues, and how to learn quickly about the company culture and work effectively with the others, because working in team is a very important skill. When you go out, when you're looking for a job in a company, recruiters want to be sure that you are someone who is able to work in team, proactive, avoiding conflicts, able to negotiate. So our alumni invited to our round table discussion explain how to be proactive. They are giving tips and tricks to involve and taking on new projects, constantly develop. They always repeat to never stop growing in terms of skills. So attending additional training sessions, seeking out mentorship, coaching to develop new skills. These are other tips we always, these are just focus of our webinars, learn the company culture and values, set up your workspace, learn about get to know your co-workers, and skills. So we started with skills with the presentation of our colleagues, and we finish with skills. because after your PhD, when you finish and you are prepared for your next professional step, you have to develop new skills to strengthen your previous skill, but also to constantly develop new skills. Maybe you have to write a grant application not with the goal of get the grants, but to develop experience in this field. A successful postdoc would be the one you can develop your own skill set and become independent. And looking for inspiration, and to look for inspiration, it means to meet people, head over to podcasts, or attend alumni events, this kind of reach out to alumni community, to look for inspiration, to find inspiration, maybe listening to other success story. We name them professionally success story, helping you to prepare your professional new professional path in other contexts, sectors, always exploring the job market, which is constantly and very quickly changing. So thank you very much for your attention, and so do not hesitate. So I am here if you have questions.
Thank you very much, Lucia. There is, I think, one question from Eleanor. Do you prepare your researchers to sell their entrepreneurship potential when they apply? In case you feel this could be an interesting selling argument for companies, other employers outside of academia. You can also
yes,
find
yes. May I answer? Yes, we are preparing them we help them to write their CV, to redesign, because they already have a very rich and excellent CV, but they have to redesign it, and we explain them that I always repeat, you need the CV for every application, because you have first, before writing your CV, you have to study the company, and to better know the company culture, try to reach out to people already working them. That's why we give so much importance to our alumni community, because first of all, they're always kind, they are happy when we contact them, and so, but PhD graduates really, since they are already in a company, they really know how, they're really the best source for this kind of tips. And you feel this could be interesting. Okay.
Thank you. Anastasia, has a question, please. No, we can't hear you. No, sorry.
Okay. Maybe
Can you hear me?
Now,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, okay. I have a question regarding to those researchers that, because we have had this question before, that when they don't know what to do after they get their PhD, or they don't find any grant or any position as a postdoc, or they want to have a gap in academia, and then the common answers or comments that we receive is that it's difficult once you go out of academia to go back. So is there, I don't know, I know it's maybe something in the researcher culture
I perfectly understand.
How do you have mechanisms, or how do you ensure if someone goes out for a year and then they want to come back to academia, but really they're not considered as,
Yes, especially in Southern Europe, in Southern Europe university, it's quite difficult if you go back to the return. I wouldn't say there is no return, but it is true that so the network connection are important. If you go away, maybe you are losing connection and information. It depends, but I would say it depends, because we have also example of our young researcher, our young PhD graduates, who maybe went away when they worked for innovation, research and innovation department in top European companies. And it was not so difficult for them to come back because maybe they brought an added value. But anyway, it is also true that at a certain moment you have also to decide how to orient, how to design your career, because academia and the university are similar but also different world. And so, especially for companies, they don't want someone who is not so convinced, because they have to invest on his professional growth. And if they think that he is also there because he is without a scholarship, so nobody wants to be considered as a B plan. We always say to our PhD when they are preparing their job interview, please don't say if you are asked why did you decide to leave academia. Please don't reply because I am without money, because my research laboratory didn't fund a grant, a postdoctoral fellowship or scholarship for me, because you between the line you are saying, well, I am here because I regard you as a B plan, and nobody wants to be regarded as a B plan. You have to be motivated. I mean, you have to show motivation for the position, and you have to also to let them know and convince them that not only you represent an added value, but also that you meet the requirement, that you are there because you are what they are looking for. Not you are there because you are without chances at university. And then, life, then it can happen that you can go back to university, but don't prepare your career plan with the idea that you try to put your feet into shoes, because the recruiters understand it, that if you're not motivated enough. So I had the chance in this last year to speak with lots of recruiters of big firms like, Ferrero, the chocolate, the famous Werno Ferrero, I think that is Werno, Merck, these very big companies, and they want motivated category. They invest in terms of laboratory, of opportunity, of salary, but they want motivated candidates.
I was asking the question in the approach of they want to go back to academia. According to the Charter principles, you are supposed to value that experience outside of academia positively, but I think nowadays, well, I guess it might take some time to change, but I don't think it's as well looked at when they try to, I don't know, I want to continue as a postdoc, and they're like, yeah, but you took 2 years off. So you see it as 2 years off versus, oh, you have added value.
But anyway, now we are trying to bridge the gap between academia and industry. Otherwise, the two worlds never stay with their prejudices. And if with the so-called industrial PhD, this doctoral path, it surely helps, because I know that in Belgium, for example, people maybe they stay 2 years in academia, they go back to. They go back to the company. So maybe with this industrial PhD, you can also live in between. For we have also to realistically, that companies, so the business world, the corporate world, so on, the motivated candidates to use for their big projects. Prepared, and so you also know. So I know I speak when at the end of one of the typical questions at the end of our roundtable discussion with our alumni. Some of them are now CEO or maybe senior scientists in top private laboratory. And so, what are you earning a lot? Yes, I am very satisfied because I earn more here than. When I was at university, I am less free, but at the same time, when I need a tool or something, it is immediately, it arrives immediately, because company have no problem. Maybe at the university, everything it takes time because there are administrative problems when you decide to invest on instrument or equipment. At least in Italy, it takes time. So you cannot buy everything in 2 minutes. On the contrary, in a company who is interested, they want to invest in a project, they immediately buy what you need. So there are pros and cons. Maybe the negative aspect that a permanent position at university, you know that for all your life you have a position, maybe company, even the growth is different. At a certain moment, you have to decide what you really want to become, what are your priorities.
Thank you, Ruti. I think Elisa has raised her hand.
Yeah, I wanted to add something. Maybe it's a question for Isalto regarding what Anastasia has also asked about this dual coming, the ideal world where people are moving from academia to industry and then coming back. I guess is that for what you are saying is basically you are checking, if I understood correctly, basically you're checking the motivation of a person, why they want to go to industry and then why they want to come back to industry. And I guess it's different solution if they are really looking for building bridges between public and private. If a company is interested in building these bridges, then you are the key excellent person, like these industrial doctorates or these other forms that nowadays they are we're having more of these people of these type of researches. But then if the case is that I am not enough motivated, I'm not sure if I'm going to move to industry just because maybe I don't like it, or maybe I want to come back to academia because something is better, is what you have explained, that you work with them, that basically trying to explain them that it's very expensive companies, I guess.
To tell the truth, the problem is that academia is not able, in Italy, to offer a permanent position to all our PhDs. So they have realistically, and I think that in Spain it must be more or less the same. So 1 out of 10 will become professor, also will get a permanent position. So we think that it is better to help them to plan their next professional step strategically. But if your dream job is to stay at academia, well, try, but be prepared to a longer period of temporary position. It might be frustrating. It might be difficult for the rest of your life if you get married, if you want to build a family. So sometimes we realize that they don't think strategically. At the same time, they realize it when late, maybe after they stay 5-6 years with postdoctoral scholarship, and then they realize that they will never become professor. But as I said, companies don't want to be regarded as a B plan. We have also to be, I think that, be honest on this point. The ideal world would be where they're moving from academia to industry, but we are building this, and maybe with some companies it's easier, with a small company it's difficult. It's much more difficult culturally. And so they have to, when they have to move, they have to sell themselves not as a B choice, a B plan, because companies invest on candidates. We have also to be honest. This is the point. So recruiters, when they explain, they also give us the kind of questions they are asked so that they can better prepared. There are some, it depends. There are also some companies organizing the job interview in different steps. They also invite you for a dinner, for example, to see how you interact. So they really invest, you see, even in a job interview. It can last 1 week due to these different steps. And then if they realize that you are there because you are not sure if your next postdoctoral fellowship will be paid for you, it's quite, they are disappointed. And at the same time they say, so you see, it is better for us to hire young people without a PhD, so we prepare them, we invest on them instead of these. They sometimes, some of them they call old. I mean, old students who are not realistic, who are sometimes a little bit too. They feel they are better than the others, so. They are quite clear recruiters because they say when you arrive in the company, you have to accept also the hierarchy, the fact that some of your colleagues haven't a PhD, don't have a PhD, but they have been working here for 10 years, so we need also them for their skills, for their experience. So they are expecting you. PhD have to know that they are expected to be humble also. But at the same time, we also show by inviting the one who are on top position that their career developed very, very quickly thanks to the PhD. In comparison with their colleagues without the PhD. One of them, who now has a top position in London, a very important bank, he explained that when he arrived, he wasn't asked. The PhD was not asked. But he wanted to have this experience, and his career developed very, very quickly, and he is sure that it was thanks to project management, to the problem solving, all these transferable skills he already had, because his PhD, during his PhD, he could develop these skills. So this is the added value. Even if you have to look to search jobs in other contexts, because unfortunately academia cannot offer a position. No, be sure that your PhD will be very useful and helpful if you can use it, starting from the preparation of your CV. And more than CV, I would say the motivation letter, because it is in the motivation letter where you really see if the candidate is motivated because in the CV, everybody tries to write the best things to be attractive. But in the motivation letter, the recruiter can understand if you are really motivated for that position.
We do have some questions in the chat, Lucia. I think there are
My
three.
last question, innovation consulting, is that? Eleanor Didier, is this?
Yeah, this is and then there's one about internships for PhD students.
It's generally suggested to get to an industrial industry during your PhD immediately after the hour, and master student I prefer. Yes. How to tackle this, and is there a platform to look for such internship experience? This is a problem. This is one of the problems. I would start by saying that sometimes our PhD students are not so open to experiences in companies, because they are concentrated on their research project. And probably recruiters or HR perceives it. But at the same time, it is also true that the prejudices of company is that PhD are still living in their ivory tower and they prefer the master level. So we try with our informal discussion. We also organize a business dinner to try to make the two words of PhD researcher and companies to meet in informal situation. And sometimes when they start to speak, at the end they realize the added value that they are not in front of a master student level, but a master level student, but they're in front of young researchers. So in that case, they realize the difference when they speak. And it's also a question in Italy, because I'm working here, it's often a question of culture. We try to organize different meetings with them to make them understand what an early career researcher can really offer to, especially to innovative companies, thanks to his full potential, which is difficult to understand. especially in companies, maybe there are CEOs or HR without the PhD, so they don't sometimes know, they don't really know exactly what a PhD means, why. There is also misunderstanding. They think that they are unluckily all student parked. I was told, I think that by a recruiter, sometimes I perceive that these are all students parked at university, and now we don't know where to put them, and we try to sell them to us. This is a prejudice. This is really a prejudice, because on the contrary, we invest, because a PhD is also an investment for the university in terms of money. Or so we are trying to work that way to little by little to help to overcome all this prejudice, and as facilitator between these two words. I hope I have understood.
Thank you. There is a question about this innovation consulting. Sorry, do you prepare your researchers for this kind of professional experiences, for example, in approaching companies, institutions to offer their research-based expertise?
We organize both before the pandemic, yes, and now, together with the partners of the Université de Lyon, with a long year experience in terms of career development for PhD. We organized a mock interview, I mean simulated job interview, inviting real HR professional. Because what they mean, they have to be prepared to step. Because if they don't know, if you want to win, you have to know the rule of the games. So this kind of job simulated interview was a way to make them meet the counterparts, so the HR professional from big companies, small companies, or startup, and to become familiar to some questions and to understand what they are expecting from you. And some of our recruiters were really nice people, because they arrived with the job advertisement, and they underlined for the PhD the keywords and explain. So please focus on these keywords and try to design, to build your CV on this keyword, because we are looking for that now. Maybe an expert of artificial intelligence with international experience. So please write your CV if you want to be the candidate. This is the kind of thing we do. And with the headhunters, because more than recruiters and more than us, because I've always worked at the university, so I don't know exactly what happens before, what happens in other contexts. We invite also to our roundtable discussion headhunters, because headhunters have a deep knowledge of the job, of the current job market. What are the most requested skills? What are the job of the futures? So everything now is artificial intelligence, for example, is one of the priorities. So, and it is going to impact on every field. So, and we think that by organizing meeting with this kind of professionals, so far from what they're used to academia, we try to give our little contribution to their to the professional, the preparation of the professional growth and first career plan. I would say first career plan and then professional growth.
Thank you. Are there some other questions or some remarks from anybody else?
Yeah,
Elena, yeah, of course, please.
I'm not sure if maybe I did not get the answer right, but it was less about how to involve actually representatives of companies, HR, but to understand if this profile is somehow already trained. So Elisa told me that now they are working on it on their side to better describe, but is this something you feel valuable, something you think researchers could approach companies with? That was my question.
Sorry, I think that I missed two words of yours. So you mean if it is important to organize
Innovation consulting, to prepare researchers to be innovation consultants, at least maybe to bridge sometimes, because it's not said that they will find immediately a job somewhere in a company or public institutions or else, but they could bridge this gap somehow by offering their
Yes,
own
it's true.
product
Yes.
consultancy. Yes, but is this something you feel that makes sense? And if yes, do you prepare then somehow
No,
for
it
this?
makes sense, but no, we don't. No, for the moment we are not. We are our next step because since it is a long a journey, sort of journey. The next our step now is to strengthen our alumni community, because alumni it's an important connection, it's an important link for us, because they are already in a company and maybe they can easily hire our PhD, because they come from our university, so they know that our PhD are very well prepared, and they also through them, by them, I can have immediately easy information on open position. Because the problem, you know, that sometimes there is a hidden job market. Not all the jobs are advertised, but if you know someone with a key position in a company, maybe you can easily have this kind of information, which is of the utmost importance when someone is looking for a job. Maybe the next step, and then we are also focusing on startup, so to help our PhD to build their own company, because they are innovators or researchers first of all, so innovators, so why not to build? So now I'm trying to identify professional profiles of our PhD graduates who were able to build an innovative startup. But to become also innovation consultant, why not? Maybe in the next step, it could be an excellent idea.
Thanks a lot. Just concerning the startup sciencepreneurship activities, maybe you already saw the deliverable on the website of Euraxess Serbia. That's everything we actually managed to set up, tools and stuff, which could be helpful for sciencepreneurs. So if you look up Startup Hub, Euraxess Startup Hub on the website of Euraxess Serbia, you will also find valuable tools to support them along their way as startups.
Yes, I know. It's to convince them to become startup because they have to take some risks. They are not used to.
Thank you. Svetlana, I think you raised your hand.
Thank you very much, Verena, Lucia, and all the speakers before. It was an excellent webinar, and actually raised a lot of questions among the colleagues. My question is a bit different. Lucia, what do you think? You know, we are building now Euraxess hubs, and the role of these hubs is to help internationally to all Euraxess centers with additional materials, with additional tools and instruments, and also in specific cases to help solving cases. And you know very well that not all of the Euraxess organization could afford having their own consultant or develop through their human resource department, develop such kind of service, even not with only one, but with more. Sorry, this is my dog. My question is actually related to what Euraxess could do to help those organizations that don't have their own means to develop such a service. Would it be possible, according to you, to arrange kind of on hub level, kind of this consultancy that would help Euraxess contact points in specific cases, or advising them where and how to
It would be great.
You understand the question, right?
Yes, yes, it would be great. This is you will miss. You will really bridge the gap and also build something new and very useful. I think that in most cases it's a question of trying to help them to import good practices. When we started here, nobody knows nothing about career development, postdoctoral activity, and it was essential that the connection with Euraxess, with the University of Lyon, Copenhagen, so places where with a long experience, with tools, with expertise, and so, but because sometimes you don't have to invent new things, just to get inspiration and then to import these good practices, adapting them to your national context or local context, because Copenhagen is another word, and their dual program to attract foreign talent attraction program is great, but it is impossible to. It's not immediately adaptable to the Italian context, for example. But it was very interesting to study, to see how they are working, to get inspiration, to import some good practices. I think that if Euraxess, such a huge network, is able to put together many good practices, many relevant good practices, we can get inspiration from them, adapting them to our situation, and without the need to invent from ground zero, something which already is already existing.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Lucia. You are very helpful. Maybe we can raise this question in community of practice first, and just then think on establishing kind of a new service at the hub level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think we are just at the end of our webinar. I think 2 minutes over the time. I just want to share just the last question for you. If you have still time, I'm just open my screen. So maybe you can just think about a minute about today's webinar and just to tell us or your catch of the day. So maybe something new you've heard, or some good advices you got today, or maybe something you would like to hear more about, or I don't know, some ideas what we can focus on. So just please write it down on the screen. I'm going to share the Menti code again in the chat. Sorry for that. Just here again is the sorry, this is again the Menti and the code. Because as Svetlana mentioned, we are thinking about maybe how can we put together all the information or some best practices. How can we put it online on the website, on the Euraxess website? But maybe also some tools how we can exchange in the future about best practices in different countries. Sharing is caring. I like that. Yeah, that's good point. So just feel free if you have something to add. Good, in handbook. That's good. So just to give us some ideas where we can focus on our future work. Okay, get some good advices. Thank you very much. I just still leave it for 1 minute before I will close today's session. Of course, we will share all the presentations and also the Menti slides with you within the next days. So thank you. So then it's now for me just to thank you very much for your thanks. First of all, thanks to our speakers for today's presentation, for the fruitful exchange with all of you. And I just put you here. We are also on LinkedIn, like some other Euraxess website, and it's also always good to follow us, the different LinkedIn pages, when you want to stay updated with us about future webinars. The Era Talent project is, I think, at the beginning, and there are a lot of webinars are coming soon. And yeah, thank you again for your participation today. I hope it was very interesting for you, and I wish you a very nice day and hope to see you soon. Bye.